I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
What's up, everybody? Please welcome my special guest, a content creator for the New England Patriots. Let's welcome Patriots Global, man. How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. Look, obviously coming off of a pretty disappointing in-division loss, there were a lot of high expectations going into that game. And when I say high expectations, I mean high expectations for as high as they can get for a team, of course, that is in year one of a complete rebuild. Thought the game was going to be closer than it was. We get blown out, but man, those in-division games, they really can go either way. But, you know, as Belichick would say, we're on to San Francisco.
Yeah, that would be the old saying, and it's not the same without Belichick. You know, you go from Bill Belichick to now a guy who used to play for you guys, Jarrett Mayo. What was that transition going from him, man?
Yeah, it really wasn't much of a surprise, to be honest. I mean, this is something that if you follow the team over the last few years, wasn't a surprise. You know, 2 years ago, Jarrett Mayo, and really over 3 years ago it started, he was getting head coaching and defensive coordinator job interviews. And then 2 years ago, he just stopped. You know, he had one lined up for a head coaching opportunity for the Panthers, and then he just randomly turned it down. And we're like, what the heck's going on? Then we find out he signed an extension with the Patriots, and we're like, well, this makes no sense. And then we find out after Belichick was released or fired, or they mutually parted ways, we found out that it was actually in Jarrett Mayo's contract that he would succeed Bill Belichick whenever Belichick did decide to step back. So like you said, obviously Jarrett Mayo, he played under Bill Belichick for the longest time. He was drafted by the Patriots. I believe it was back in 2008 in the first round. It was one of the historically high first round picks that the Patriots had, especially under Bill Belichick. And he was a Pro Bowler. He was a Pro Bowler. He was all pro in the NFL. He was a really, really good linebacker, played for about 10 seasons before he called it a career, became a linebackers coach for New England in 2019. Few years later now, here 2024, he's now the Patriots head coach. And it's definitely a much different style too, right, than Bill Belichick. Because you look at Bill Belichick, he grew up in like a, and I hate to use it this way, but this really is the way that it was. He grew up in an Army-esque style of parenting. His dad was in the Army, and so that's how he grew up. So that's how he transitioned his coaching style. Very hard on players, tough love, right? We all play for each other, not for one individual. If you have a problem, if you have attitude, you're out the door. You know, basically like that military boot camp style of playing. And that's just not what players respond to very well in today's generation of the NFL. College players transitioning to the NFL. If you look at teams that are succeeding very well, even the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan, that is a player's coach. That is a guy that cares about his players and playing as a unity, playing as a team, playing for the guys to the left and towards their right. And that's exactly what Jarrett Mayo is bringing to New England.
Yeah, he's bringing a different energy than from what you're just saying. But, you know, from getting that guy, you know, that draft pick came from the Niners, just to put it out there. Because we made that trade for Joe Staley in 2007, and then you guys got that pick. And then that pick turned out to be Jarrett Mayo from Tennessee. But, yeah, you guys made that transition. I thought for a minute it was going to be Mike Vrabel because of the familiarity, but it wasn't the case. So that guy was pretty much what you just said. But you guys are going through a different type of regime now because you got a quarterback with the situation. But Brissett, let's be honest, I think he's just a bridge quarterback. I don't know when you guys are going to play Drake Maine, or I see this hype on Joe Milton, man. Like, how do you feel about these quarterback situation?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because everybody wants to see the young buck come in. And the way that I see it, I'm about to put it on t-shirts at this point, is I've been saying from the start, it's about the next 10 years, not about the next 10 months. And quarterback is just one of those positions where if you're able to hit on it, the trajectory of your team is completely different. I mean, the margin for error extends drastically, as where if you don't hit on that quarterback position, the rest of your team needs to play pretty much perfect every single week, right? Look at the Houston Texans. In 1 year, they get a new head coach, they get CJ Stroud, and all of a sudden, that same year, they're in the playoffs. They're winning a playoff game. They're now one of the favorites to go ahead and win the Super Bowl this year and at least go to the Super Bowl at that. Why? Because they hit on that quarterback position. And that's why you have to do things right. We've seen, even as Patriots fans, when Mac Jones was here, the 1 year he did really good before the Patriots screwed him up. He was, I think, the 12th highest ranked quarterback. He was already setting records in New England and in the NFL. The Patriots went to the playoffs. Now, they got wiped, but they went to the playoffs. And then after that year, they absolutely ruined Mac Jones, and they didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have consistency there. So the way that I see this is they had a plan for Drake May when they drafted him. When they signed Jacoby Brissett in the offseason to a 1 year, $8 million deal guaranteed, they laid out a blueprint. What exactly was that blueprint? Obviously, we don't know. But I believe that they laid out a blueprint. They said, we are going to take a quarterback with the third pick. We don't know who, but we're going to take a quarterback with that third pick. You are going to start for X amount of games guaranteed before we let this rookie come in. So everybody wants Drake May to come in there right now, but this Patriots offensive line is historically bad in terms of pass protection, to where if they keep this up, they're going to be one of the worst we've ever seen in NFL history. You don't want to throw Drake May out there. Right now, Jacoby Brissett, like you said, he is a bridge quarterback. He is not a franchise quarterback for any team. Even with the Commanders last year, he didn't start that entire season. He's a guy where, again, he's a veteran mentor quarterback. You need him to start for a few games. You need him to start for half a season. He can do that, but he's not a guy that you want starting the entire season. You're never going to win games because of Jacoby Brissett. But again, it's year one of a rebuild. We understand our situation. We know we're not going to be good this year. No Patriots fan is saying we're going to the playoffs or winning a playoff game. So it's okay, even if you want to sit Drake May for the entire year, which I don't think he needs to. But even if they wanted to do that, he's only 21. By the time he takes over in 2022 full time, he's only 22 years old, which is significantly younger than a lot of the quarterbacks taken in the first round that started game one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this is like he doesn't have to be pressure in. So it's like you said, the offensive line can be a lot for the guy, because if you throw the rookie in the fire, that's going to get him to struggle. I mean, a guy like Jacoby Brissett, he's already know what it takes to play, because he's been there and done it. But even though he's not the answer. But then when you look at the Patriots, we look at the wide receivers, nobody's kind of like curious, like, what kind of weapons do you guys got? It's like, I remember Kendrick Bourne still on your guys' roster, but I don't think he's been playing this year, right?
Yeah, so he actually had an injury. I believe it was against the Miami Dolphins last year. It was either an ACL or an Achilles injury. He was out for the season, but he was poised for a breakout year. He was looking like he was going to go for 1,000 yards. The Patriots finally got him implemented. I actually remember when he was a part of the 49ers, dude, I wanted him on the Patriots for like a solid 2 years. He hit free agency. I was like, we got to go after this guy. You guys re-signed him. Then a year later, he hit free agency again. I was like, we got to get him. And then they ended up doing it. Definitely a fan favorite here in New England. And I actually remember, what was it, about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, when there were rumors about Brandon Ayuk to the Patriots, and in that potential trade package was Kendrick Bourne. And I was like, as much as we need a wide receiver one, don't get rid of KB. He's not a wide receiver one, but at the end of the day, he fits exactly what the Patriots are trying to do and build in this locker room. He's a guy that is going to play for others and not himself. He is going to bring the atmosphere to the locker room, both on and off the field, that the Patriots need. But yeah, this wide receiver core, it's nothing to brag about, but it's also extremely young. And I think that's what we have to remember too. They did bring in KJ Osborne from the Vikings. He is really a wide receiver 3, but he's a good piece. He's a veteran wide receiver who's been in the league for, I think, like 4 or 5 years at this point, but he's their most experienced wide receiver, right? You look at Jalen Polk, rookie. You look at Javon Baker, rookie. You look at Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, both are second-year players. This is a very young wide receiver core. That's something we have to keep in mind. And a lot of times with young wide receivers, those guys don't take off till year 2. Some of them not even taking off till year 3. And what we also have to understand is that this is year 1 for Alex Van Pelt, who is the Patriots offensive coordinator. This is the first time he's called plays to this extent. He's been an offensive coordinator in several different places, but he's never called plays full time. So it's also new for him. then you have to keep in mind who's behind center. It's Jacoby Brissett, who's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not going to excel the offense past its limitations. But again, it goes back to that offensive line, not giving the wide receivers enough time to get through their progressions, not giving Jacoby Brissett enough time to actually go through his progressions, go through his dropbacks, go through his mechanics, and actually be able to get these wide receivers the ball. I would say the best guy to look out for, though, is Demario Douglas. Has some injury problems, but when he's on the field, he is an absolute dog. One of the biggest things the Patriots wanted to do heading into week 3 against the Jets last week was get Demario Douglas more involved, and that's exactly what they did. Again, it's all going to come down to this offensive line, because if this offensive line can give Brissett even an adequate average, even a slightly below average enough time to throw the ball, then guys like Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk are going to make plays. Because interesting fact, Jalen Polk actually has the second best separation percentage out of all rookie wide receivers taken in this past draft.
Well, that's interesting. But like you just said, like Demario Douglas might be like your best option. Like when you if you look at the previous games from the Niners matchup, you guys need to play like throwing the vertical passes. That's where we struggled the most in the coverage. And I think if the Patriots can hold up well, that's where I'm a little concerned about. But yeah, Kendrick Bourne was a very likable person from his time in San Francisco. I mean, it was hard to dislike the guy. Like, this guy just had a full of energy, but we already have our new Kendrick Bourne. This guy is already doing pretty well. Juwan Jennings, this is our new. That dude's something else, but they're pretty much both alike in certain ways because they have that personality. But, they're not the fastest, but yeah, I think this is this has got potential trap, because I look at how you guys are like, just because you guys lost to the Jets that bad doesn't mean it's going to be another repeat, because we seen what the Rams happened last week. But when I look at the Patriots offense, it's not just your guys' passing game, it's mostly your running game. Like, Rhamondre Stevenson is that guy I just like, bro. That dude's a baller. He's a beast. Like, he's hard to tackle for almost a 240-pound guy.
Yeah, dude, Rhamondre Stevenson is an absolute dog. Now, obviously, took a step back last week, and I think a lot of people kind of look at that stats and they're like, oh my gosh, like the Jets absolutely shut down Rhamondre Stevenson in the Patriots run game. Unfortunately, what the Patriots' idea was on a short week heading into MetLife to play the Jets was, let's do more RPOs. Let's get the passing game more involved. Let's get Demario Douglas more involved. And by doing that, they had such a focus on that even in the beginning of the game, to where they didn't run the ball all that much. Rhamondre Stevenson had somewhere between like 6 or 9 total carries. He was averaging just over 20 carries overall throughout the first 2 weeks. So they just kind of stepped away from the running game. And when they realized, oh crap, this is the only success that we actually have offensively, the Patriots were already down by like 14 points, and they were never going to get back in that game by running the ball. When you're down that much, unfortunately, you are going to have to pass your way out if you're going to come back from behind. And that's why the Patriots really didn't run the ball all that much. But I like what you said about Juwan Jennings, man, because I thought that same thing while watching him play over the last few weeks and even last season, that this guy does remind me a little bit of Kendrick Bourne, with that mentality, that dog, that underdog mentality that he has. I actually wanted the Patriots, ironically, to target him in free agency just a few months ago, and they didn't. And this is exactly why. Like, this dude is underrated. The Niners, they got George Kittle, they got Debo, they got Ayuk. Like, you have so many pieces. You got Christian McCaffrey, to where nobody's talking about Juwan Jennings. But when he finally has the opportunity,
he's an unheard of. Like, he's just like the one guy that nobody even brings up about. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so unique.
Show himself, when he has the time to actually showcase that, he finally pops off, dude. I think that Juwan Jennings is going to have another good game. I think he's going to ball out in this game.
Oh, dude. See, I'm not the only one thinking that way. Like, when we drafted this kid, I just thought, well, it's because he was like, it's like one of those years for some guys. It takes years to develop, but it took him into his second year to break out. And I think he turned out pretty well. But, just from an outside looking in, what's your thoughts on Brock Purdy? Because I know a lot of the people have different opinions about this guy. He's a system quarterback. He's this and that. This is exactly what he's not what everybody thinks he is. Or maybe he is a guy, like, how do you look at him that way?
Yeah, look. Is Brock Purdy a guy that is going to excel the offense past its limitations? Right now, I don't feel very confident in that, but I do feel confident in saying that Brock Purdy is a number one quarterback. I believe that even if he is a system quarterback, that's perfectly fine, right? Like, and I don't think that should be a knock. I think we have to understand circumstances. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. He was taken with the last pick in the 7th round. He wasn't a first round quarterback. First round quarterbacks are expected to excel in offense past its limitations. Brock Purdy has been able to come in and define what it means to be a late round quarterback, which I can respect as a Patriots fan who saw Tom Brady taken in the 6th round. The thing is that look at some of the best quarterbacks all time, right? You look at Tom Brady, you look at guys like Aaron Rodgers, guys who were able to excel the offense past its limitations, especially towards the back end of their career. It took them time to get there. I don't care if you are taken in the 1st round. I don't care if you're taken in the 7th round. I don't care if you're a UDFA. For the first few years of a quarterback's career, you need to surround him with playmakers. You need to make him look good because it is going to take time for a quarterback to excel that offense past its limitations. Why? Because in order for a quarterback to do that, they have to have the mental aspect. They have to have the knowledge. They have to have the football IQ. You are only going to get that over time by playing more football. And I think that Brock Purdy, we see a guy that is multidimensional. He has really good arm strength. He's good with his ball placement. He's already smart. He's got some mobility to him. And if he can continue this up, I think that he can only get better. I think the sky is the limit for somebody like Brock Purdy. And I think that Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, they're doing right by him by making sure he doesn't get in his head, his internal clock isn't sped up, and that he's building confidence. Because to me, there are 2 positions in football to where confidence is one of the most important things. And if you lose the confidence, you're going to be a bad player. That's the quarterback position, and that is the kicker. And the more confidence that Brock Purdy has, the more that he's going to perform better, he's going to learn better, he's not going to be in his own mind. And I think that down the road, I think Brock Purdy can be a guy that can excel the offense past its limitations.
Yeah, I think that's just how it goes for some quarterbacks. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing in a system. I mean, like, I don't want to make a perfect example, but the greatest quarterback has played in this organization for so many years, and everybody wanted to see what he can do without that kind of system, and he proved otherwise. So, I mean, it's not a knock on Brock Purdy. I mean, you look at a lot of great quarterbacks over the years. Like, sometimes it just takes a special talent to be really good at this offense. Like, if that's the case, how's Jimmy Garoppolo doing lately? I don't know. Like, this guy's been like kind of like hitting around. I mean, you look at guys like Brian Hoyer. He was supposedly an okay quarterback in Cleveland. Not so much. Matt Ryan had a great career. Matt Ryan had an MVP season under Shanahan's offense, but it took him a couple of years. You know, some of these quarterbacks, it takes time. But for Brock Purdy, he kind of just adapted like within that next year.
Exactly. And here's what I'll say too. My last kind of thing on this is just that, would you have asked Tom Brady to excel in offense past his limitations in year 2 or year 3? Would you have asked Aaron Rodgers to do the same thing? No, it took several years for you to be able to say, okay, let's take the pieces around you away and let's put in some new pieces, some rookies, some young bucks who haven't proven anything yet, and see if you can still do the same thing. And they were. I think it's the same thing with Brock Purdy. You're never going to know until he's given the opportunity to do it. But let's not say that he can't do it. Let's not say he's a system quarterback. Let's not say he can't excel in offense past his limitations until we actually see him be given that opportunity.
Yeah. And what you saw on that, so what you saw last week against the Rams, did he show enough, or was it kind of like,
Look, honestly, I don't put that loss on him. You know, you're out your star running back. I believe George Kittle wasn't playing in that game too, if I remember correctly. Deebo Samuel wasn't playing in that game. Yes, you still had a number 1 guy. Yes, you still have a very good offensive line, but even that offensive line is missing pieces. And for him to go out, put up the numbers that he did, missing his star pieces in just his few years, he's not the reason they lost the game. In fact, I think that he played a really good game overall. I think he helped the team win. I think it came down to Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff still being in this narrative of, hey, we're up. How do we close a game? We don't know. I put it on coaching 100%. I don't put that on Purdy.
Yeah, that's fair enough right there. And plus, he's not the one missing the kick or playing defense. So, you know, that's a lot on them. But yeah, but when you look at how the Patriots were playing the previous weeks, you know, I felt like they were kind of like a feisty team until they played the Jets. So I'm like kind of curious what kind of, like, when you look at the Patriots, like, so what's with the injury reports? Who's going to be playing for this game?
Yeah, so right now, what the injury report is looking like for the Patriots, it's not good, dude. They're banged up. They're banged up to say the least. Now, they do have a lot of key players on both the injured and PUP list. They'll be eligible to return actually after this week, so maybe reinforcements on the way for New England. But they're starting offensive tackle Vidarian Lowe. This is the injury report we got yesterday. So far today, nothing has come out. But yesterday, their starting left tackle did not practice. Their starting guard, Michael Jordan, who probably is their best overall offensive lineman so far this season, he didn't practice. Anthony Jennings, their star edge defender in the running game, he didn't practice. Alex Austin, a depth cornerback, didn't practice. Hunter Henry was a limited participant. Caden Wallace, one of their starting left tackles, who has kind of been thrusted into being a starting tackle because they're dealing with so many injuries. He's a rookie, though. He was limited. City So, one of their starting guards who hasn't played at all this season because he's been dealing with injuries. He was limited, so he's been a non-participant the last couple of weeks. It's trending that he could potentially play in this game. And then Christian Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones, two of your starting cornerbacks, also were limited participants. So Patriots could potentially be out with some key players yet again. More specifically, they're starting, again, left tackle in Vidarian Lowe, which was a major, major loss for them last week. But obviously the 49ers, they're dealing with some key injuries here too, but this is a game the 49ers should win, right? This is a game that at the end of the day, despite the Patriots injuries, despite the 49ers injuries, we could be a perfectly healthy team and y'all could still be dealing with all the injuries you have with Debo, Trent Williams, Devon Hargrave, George Kittle, and you should still be able to win this game because that speaks on just how untalented this Patriots roster is, which thank you, Bill Belichick, for that.
I mean, yeah, you can say that, but what happened with the Rams? They had the most injuries, and we were dealt with a little bit. So it's like you guys are going to be fighting. You're going to be a fighting team. But the way I look at this, like from the injury perspective, you're not going to expect Debo to play this week. He's still going to be out. Kittle's more like a 50 chance because he's already practicing from the looks of it. Yeah, Trent Williams, he'll be good. He's practicing, from my understanding. The cornerbacks and all the players that were kind of sidelined with injuries, it's not that big of an injury like how everybody was saying. But when you look at the injuries from when you look at how we were playing through those kind of guys, you're not going to see guys like Greenlaw. He ain't coming back until maybe week 6 or something, from my understanding, because he's returning from a serious injury. D. Winters has been practicing. They might lean towards playing him for this week, depending on how Devondre Campbell plays, because if Campbell doesn't step up his game, they might even plan on benching him for this game. So there's other guys that are supposed to be guys that were injured into the play. But I think everybody was concerned about Trent Williams, but he should be all right, from my understanding. But yeah, I think Kittle's kind of game time decision. So he's practicing, so it is positive. You know what I mean? So he was kind of considered ruled out, but he might play this week.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because the Patriots used to be that team where, if you have players that are injured, they all rally together, they suck it up, and they play through the injuries to play against the Patriots because that's who the Patriots were. You needed everybody. You needed your unit to show up, your best players to show up if you're going to have a chance at winning the game. Now the Patriots are kind of one of those teams where, players are yeah, I'm dealing with an injury, but it's just the Patriots. Even if I don't play, we should be fine. So I'm just going to rest. So that's what we've seen so far this season, at least, is that opposing teams, when they have key injuries, they're just having those guys rest against the Patriots rather than having them play against us.
It used to be very respectable at that point where they were oh yeah, this is the team you don't want to sleep on. But even with this young team, they're still going to compete hard. So it's not when the Niners were a dynasty for a while, they ended up being what the Patriots were, just right where you guys currently at, competing and fighting. But now you look at the turn of the event of how this is going. You go from a team like the Patriots now to the Chiefs. It's you guys were passing the torch to them or something. What happened, man?
Man, I hope not. I hate the Chiefs, dude. They already think they're better than the Patriots. They think that Patrick Mahomes is going to be better than Tom Brady. It's he's already statistically behind where Brady was at this point in Brady's career. Nah, I don't care who beats the Chiefs at this point. We need to humble that team.
Yeah, it's I can understand the difference. At least you guys were very humble. At least you guys were competing with respect. Unlike them, they're just a little arrogant and cocky, man. God.
Yeah, those are the types of teams that you just don't want to see win, right? It's kind of like even the Jets right now. Like the Jets are pumping their chest after beating the Patriots, even though everybody said that we sucked, still bumping their chest right now. They're saying Super Bowl. They're saying, F the 49ers. We're beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl. It's like maybe y'all should go beat a good team and try to make the playoffs before you actually start talking, right? It's just those teams where it's like, I can respect how good you are, but then the fan base gets in the way with how arrogant they are, and you're like, never mind, I'm praying for your downfall.
Yeah, everybody's kind of thinking that way as a rivalry. Just from the Rams, like, I can't stand them either, man. They're just talking a little out of their ass. Even though they won, even though they were playing with so many injuries, I have to give credit for them. But,
yeah.
I mean, after you guys, it's just like Arizona and the Seahawks. That's it. But I think out of this matchup, this has to be a get-right game. Yeah. If not, then we got a lot to fix. But this is any given week. So how would you think the Patriots should be able to pull up the upset, man? What's the main, 3 keys for them to pull the upset over the Niners, bro? Because the way the Niners are playing, bro, you might be catching them sleeping right now.
Yeah, well, I think first off, it's just run the damn ball. And I don't know exactly how the 49ers defense is faring up against the run. So it looks like right now you guys are averaging about 104 yards per game. You're at least allowing 104 rushing yards per game defensively. Those aren't easy numbers. That is still a very good unit against the run. But the Patriots over the last 2 weeks, you look at it, when they've been able to get the run game going, they've either won or they've been very close to winning. And the way that I see that Seahawks game, I mean, credit to the Seahawks because they obviously were the better team. They won fair and square, but it's just so many different ways that the Patriots could have won that game week 2. And it's just that one little thing. When you lose in overtime by 3 points, it comes down to one tiny minuscule thing that you look back and say, if you just did that different, you would have won that game. But again, if the Patriots are able to dominate time of possession, offensively, they're able to run the ball effectively and efficiently, be the ones to go down the field and score first, then I think that's how you're going to win the game. I mean, defensively, the last thing you want to do is allow Brock Purdy to pick you apart. Whether it's Brandon Ayuk, whether it's Jennings, whether it's if George Kittle ends up playing, you need to be able to overall shut down that passing attack, which has been a problem for the Patriots over the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, at least week 2 against the Seahawks, they were able to take away the rushing attack and say, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us through the air. And then Geno Smith passed for over 300 yards. Then in week 3 against the Jets, they allowed the rushing attack to fare up fairly well and allowed Aaron Rodgers to pass all over them. They need to make the San Francisco 49ers one-dimensional and base their defensive game plan off of that. If you want to take away the run game and don't allow them to be a multi-dimensional offense, okay. But then don't send all-out blitzes, which has been a problem for this defense. Send an extra defensive back on the field and just take away that pass coverage too. So again, as long as the Patriots play a clean football game offensively, no turnovers, they dominate time of possession, they run the football effectively and make the 49ers offense one-dimensional, that's how the Patriots are going to win this game. Much easier said than done.
Yeah, much easier said than done. The way how I can see it come down to it is if we maintain that running game, and if you guys want to see what we're capable as passing the ball, if you want us to beat you guys passing the ball, then maybe we'll just feed Jennings the ball again. I mean, you saw what you saw the other week, but
dude, he was a dog. He was a dog. And here's what I'll say too, is that last week against the Jets, the Patriots had issues with their cornerbacks, not because of the coverage being bad. Christian Gonzalez, dog. Jonathan Jones, the veteran, had sticky coverage on Mike Williams the entire game. But Aaron Rodgers just had pinpoint accuracy all game. And Mike Williams is 6'3", 6'4", and then Jonathan Jones is 5'9", 5'10". So literally all Aaron Rodgers had to do was put it on his head, have Mike Williams go and just put his hands up, and Mike Williams has a foot on Jonathan Jones to where it doesn't matter how good your coverage is, height is going to bite you in the butt at some point. And Jennings is 6'3", 6'4". So this is the same exact instance. And that's why I think Jennings could go off, is because if they place Jonathan Jones on him, Jennings has the height advantage. And as long as Purdy can be accurate and Jennings can have strong hands, it doesn't matter how perfect Jonathan Jones plays coverage there. It's just the height disadvantage is going to bite him in the butt at some point, just like it did last week.
Yeah, I think that's what probably will be favorable for us as probably the matchup wise on, even if you guys want us to pass the ball, I think we're going to have a solid performance. But I think as far as your guys' team as a running team, I think we have to maintain it without Hargrave because he's out for the season. So I'm already looking at the guys who's going to step in. Jordan Elliott's going to fill in that spot more. So I think he's going to fill in more of that role. Then Kevin Gibbons is going to get into the rotation. I think they're going to try to get Yost Mosgratos into the rotation a little bit just on third downs and something like that. And then I think they're going to still try to look for a D tackle part after this week. So I think they're going to go with who they got right now. So I think the challenging part is slowing down Rhamondre Stevenson. I think the sleeper, like you're just saying, I think the Douglas Party might end up being the Tutu Atwell. I hope not. But I think, like you said, you're going to try to feed this guy the ball. So I think this is the perfect matchup for him to ball out again.
Yeah, I don't think this is a big game for Brandon Ayuk. I do believe in Christian Gonzalez's ability to go up against him. Christian Gonzalez has played some of the best wide receivers in the league, from Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Again, Garrett Wilson. You can name all of like the top 10 wide receivers, and Gonzo's already gone up against all of them. He's allowed 2 touchdowns his entire NFL career and hasn't allowed a receiver to get 50 or more yards against him. So I don't think this is going to be a big Brandon Ayuk game. I don't think he's shut down to like 10 yards. Like, he'll put up, somewhere between 20 to 40 yards max. But I think the guy who's going to produce for you is going to be between George Kittle. If he plays this game, I think George Kittle's going to have a big game. And then I think Jennings is going to have a big game.
Yeah, I think you're very spot on. Like, we'll probably definitely chime back on it at some point. But I think the way you're saying it, I'm already thinking in my own head before. I was even thinking this is a Jennings game again, because I feel like you guys are going to focus on trying to stop Ayuk. And I think Kittle's going to do exactly what's necessary. But even without Kittle last week, we made Eric Sober look solid. So it wasn't the same, but you
Patriots
still
fans know him too. Yeah. We remember Eric Sober. He used to be on the Patriots.
Yeah, a blocking specialist. But looking at the Patriots tight end, like, you got Hunter Henry and who else? Like, I just think you guys make something out of those tight ends.
Yeah, honestly, these tight ends are what's kind of the bread and butter for the Patriots. I mean, really, in the passing game, outside of DeMario Douglas having like 60-some yards last week, other than that, through 3 weeks, the guys who are leading the Patriots in receiving yards are their tight ends. Hunter Henry is their leading receiver right now. Why? Because in Alex Van Pelt's offensive system, he likes to operate in the middle of the field. How do you operate in the middle of the field? You use your wide receivers in the slot, and you use your tight ends up the seam, lining up as inline tight ends. So that's why we've seen, 1 week it's Hunter Henry. Then the next week we're seeing Austin Hooper go off. I mean, Austin Hooper led the Patriots in receiving yards week 1. Hunter Henry led the Patriots in receiving yards week 2 and had a career game. And then week 3, it was DeMario Douglas in the slot. Because of how bad that offensive line is for the Patriots, they don't have enough time for Jacoby Brissett to make plays outside of the numbers. It's all going to happen inside the numbers in the middle of the field, and I think that's what the 49ers have to take away. You have to take away Rhamondre Stevenson running through the middle, because that's how they want to run the ball, and then you have to take away the passing attack within the middle of the field.
Yeah, that's part of the main focus, is to take away your running game. But then you guys got Gibson, who can do a little bit of everything. He's kind of like your outlet receiver too, and he runs the ball very effectively. Yeah,
Gibson is a former wide receiver converted to running back when the not the 49ers, but the Washington Commanders drafted him. So he has a really, really good upside as a receiver. I would love to see the Patriots utilize him as a receiving back out of the backfield, line him up at slot, line him up out wide, use him as like that James White role from when Tom Brady was here. So far, they haven't done it. They've given him some opportunities with like screens and whatnot, but not a real opportunity to showcase that wide receiver that used to be in him.
Yeah, you like, because he can do everything. Like, I mean, he may not be a Christian McCaffrey or anything like that, but this guy can catch the ball and do a little bit of everything. I was surprised he went to your guys' squad.
Yeah, man, it was a good pickup for us. I wasn't expecting it, especially like a multi-year deal, but it was a good pickup. We've needed a receiving back since James White retired, and we finally have a guy that has that potential.
Yeah, James White was exactly what you guys wanted back then, and I think he was a difference maker, like making plays and doing everything. Like, I remember you guys used to have a Kevin Falk and quite other guys that used to do the dirty work and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing about the Patriots. They always value the tight ends at times. I remember when they used to have the Hernandez and the Gronk, combination and all that, and then they had the Daniel Coates of the days,
Yeah, dude, those were the great days. And I'm honestly surprised. I will say, I thought that while I did think Austin Hooper, he was going to get acclimated, Hunter Henry was going to have a good year if he stayed healthy, I didn't think that they would be utilized through 3 weeks as much as they have, because Alex Van Pelt, when he was with the Browns, they ran a lot of 13 personnel, which is an extra wide receiver on the field. As are with Bill Belichick, they ran a lot of 12 personnel, which was those 2 tight end sets. So that's why I was like, during roster cutdowns, Patriots should keep 7 wide receivers, because we're going to see more 3 wide receiver sets than 2 tight end sets. But so far through 3 weeks, I think they've realized that these are our best pass catchers. We need guys who are just going to catch through traffic immediately as the ball is snapped. And the way to do that is to run more 12 personnel. And that's exactly what they've done. And I think that that's exactly what they're going to do against the 49ers, because even without Hargrave, you have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. Dude, I think Bosa is going to have like 3 sacks in this game. There is no reason that Bosa should not lead the NFL in sacks after this game. Like, this is a get right game for Bosa. I promise you that.
It should be. Maybe Leonard Floyd has a good game. We'll see. Yeah, but I mean, oh my God, this has got to be a funny compliment, man. But I guess where you're hiding says you sound like Tom Brady. Like, you got that voice like him, man. Like,
hey, man, look. I'm still trying to convince myself after all these years that I'm his long lost son. So you know what? That paternity test is coming Tom Brady's way. Promise you that.
Yeah, and then you got the hat a little sideways. You kind of got that bling, so I guess you kind of got it. But
Tom Brady in me, huh?
Yeah, but I see that you do like a roundtable for the AFC East, right?
Yeah, so I am one of the co-hosts on the AFC East Roundtable with my other buddies. Dan, he does the Bills, Richie does the Jets, and then TD Finstock, he does the Dolphins. And of course, I represent the New England Patriots. And then I also host 2 roundtables on Tuesday. I host the NFC South Roundtable at 7 p.m. and then I host the AFC West Roundtable at 9 p.m.
Oh, that's good, man. At least you're getting something started. I mean, started knowing your name by the round table, and then I see you getting. I think Master at Work was the one that put you out there, and all the other stuff. So,
yeah, me and Tyson, we go way back.
Me and Tyson got a little history, but we're cool.
Yeah, I think everybody has a history with Tyson. Like, everybody that I know that's cool with Tyson now is like, that dude used to like bully me online for the longest time. And I was like, bro, literally me too. But you know what? I'm cool with him now. Best wishes. That guy's my brother. And
he's a good
you know
guy,
what?
Man.
That's how, he comes off harsh at first, but then he comes around when it matters the most.
No, I mean, me and him are kind of like in good terms. So it's like, I've always like kind of vouched him and say, hey man, I like how you kind of like get rid of the people who are pedals and all that stuff. I salute you on that one, all the other stuff.
God's work.
Yeah, you're doing God work and all that. But, I expect it to be a very good game. But if you think it's going to be a blowout, man, give me your score prediction, man.
Buddy, I really wish I really wish I could say this is a get right game for the Patriots. But right now, let's understand where the Patriots are. The Patriots are in a rebuild. We understand that. You're not supposed to be good in these circumstances. Nobody's projecting them to be. Unfortunately, under Bill Belichick, he's made this roster one of the least talented rosters in the league. It's just a fact. This is a Niners team that has one of the best rosters in the NFL, even with all your injuries. I think that the Patriots will play a better game than they played against the Jets last week, just because that was on a short week. They had to travel. Patriots kind of have a mini bye week a little bit here against the 49ers because they go from Thursday night football to playing a 4:00 slate here on Sunday. So I think they'll have a little bit of extra time for preparation, a little bit of extra time to get healthy, but it's not going to be nearly enough against one of the best teams in the National Football League. I have y'all beating the Patriots by multiple possessions. I think you're going to win this game 20-10.
Ooh, 20-10. Okay, that's respectable. I think it's going to be a little close than what everybody expects it to be, because I just got to see us wake up, man. I would say you guys are going to put 17 points. I think we're going to put 24, but I feel like you guys are going to fight hard. And I think we're going to have a hard time slowing down your running game in the beginning. And I think second half, we're going to have to make adjustments on slowing down. And then we're going to have to stop on some of your receivers. I think you're going to have Douglas breaking out, I think. And I think Hunter's going to be a problem. And that's part of what's going to keep the game closer. I just hope that we get it together, but like you said, you don't think it's a bounce back for you guys, because you guys expect to compete and be more like a young team. So I expect a good game, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if I would love it to be a blowout, but I don't know, bro. The way we're playing, we might sleep on y'all, and it might bite us in the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Like, who are the Patriots? That's the question. Because week one, you pull off a major upset that was projected to be the largest deficit in the league by beating the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. Week two, you play one of the best teams in the league right now, one of the only teams left undefeated with the Seattle Seahawks. And really, the Patriots should have beat them. And then week three, you get blown up by an in-division rival. So really, we've seen every phase that a team could be with the Patriots through 3 weeks. So who exactly are they? We're going to find out. I think it's going to be a fun game. The Patriots will definitely play gritty. But you know what? While this game doesn't matter for us, because again, we're not looking to be a playoff team. We're not looking to win a playoff game, go to the postseason. I hope the 49ers do use this as a get-right game. I have so much respect for the 49ers, so much respect for the 49ers fan base. I love watching the 49ers play. I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Like, since 2020, probably, I've been rooting for the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl and win that thing because y'all have dogs all over that team. I want to see McCaffrey get a ring. I want to see Purdy get a ring. Damn, I want to see George Kittle get a ring. That's my favorite tight end since Rob Gronkowski. So I am rooting for you guys this season. I hope that you guys beat the Eagles when it comes to the postseason. Unfortunately, right now, like, I'm in Pennsylvania. I want to move to Boston at some point, but I am in Pennsylvania right now, not too far from Philly. So Eagles fans are everywhere, and I know how annoying they can be. So I am rooting for you guys all damn season long.
Dude, I respect that feeling, man. But you coming from an Eagles territory, man. That's got to be tough, especially with Larry Hyde. He an Eagle fan. He might he was gonna give you some proud. Now he's gonna just say,
Dude, all I hear is fly, Eagles fly everywhere I go, and I'm like, me and my brother went to a Patriots and Eagles game when I was like 17 and he's 4 years younger than me, and we had Eagles fans taunting us, like pulling off our like hats and our merchandise, and I'm like, we're minors and you guys don't care. I was like, this is horrific. But that's the Eagles fan base, man. That's the Eagles fan base.
Yeah, they're very ruthless, man. They're hardcore. So I give them credit for being like the most notorious fan base in all sports. They
have passion, man. I'll give them that. Yeah. I mean, the worst fan base has got to be the Eagles, or it's got to be the Jets. Honestly, right now, I have more respect for Eagles fans after seeing just how delusional Jets fans are.
I mean, if you look at Philadelphia Eagle fans, they make Raider fans look like Christians.
They do, bro.
That's just how it is. But yeah, bro. But in all perspective, we can answer maybe a couple more questions, or maybe you want to ask me a couple questions, and then we can go from here.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I mean, look, what do you think? What would you say is the Patriots' way at winning this game? Because obviously the 49ers, they haven't been the team that we've seen them be. They haven't been the team that we all projected them to be so far through 3 weeks now heading into week 4. Big part of that, of course, is because of injuries, but it looks like injuries are still going to show themselves in this game. What would you say is the way for the Patriots to kind of get this upset? What does New England have to do offensively and defensively to pull off the upset?
Well, try to stop our running game would be the first key, because you want to see if Brock can actually do what he does, and you want to see what he's capable of. And I think I want to try to pressure Brock up front as much as I can. Try to pressure him as much as you can. But as far as you guys got to have more time of possession. And I think when it comes to you guys having the ball longer and you guys creating pressure and slowing down that offense and making it to one-dimensional, that could be the recipe for an upset, you know, if that's how you guys do it. If your defense holds up pretty well, if you guys can get some multiple turnovers off of us, which you saw the Rams were able to do that, then it's a recipe for an upset. I think that's the main key for the Patriots. Try to get pressure to Brock, try to take away the running game, because that running game is kind of making this offense what it is, you know? So I think that's the main key.
Yeah, and a little interesting thing here, too, is that on the Patriots side of things, Keon White, their edge rusher, is one of their breakout stars right now. Before last week, he was tied for second in sacks. I think he's tied for like third in sacks now. But Keon White is one of 5 edge rushers to record a 20% pass rush win rate in 2 or more games so far this season. And then right now, interestingly enough, the guy opposite of him, Josh Uche, is what? I think he's 4th or 5th right now in pass rush win rate. He has a 22.5 overall pass rush win rate. The guys that are ahead of him are Jared Verse, Yaya Diaby, Myles Garrett, and Aiden Hutchinson. So Patriots got some good edge rushers here in terms of pass rush.
So Keon White, if he goes against McKivitz, I don't like that, Jets. Or whatever you guys got, because that guy can't block. If you guys can get pressure on Purdy and force fumbles, I think you guys have at least a legitimate shot. But I mean, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But
yeah, man,
let's
for sure.
see.
You guys definitely have to take advantage of that Patriots lack of a pass blocking offensive line too. The Jets, when they played the Patriots going into that game, they were one of the least blitzing defenses in the league, and then they would blitz the Patriots constantly in that game because, unfortunately, when you blitz the Patriots, like their receivers aren't getting open. Jacoby Brissett isn't a magician; he can't make something happen when he has two defenders in his face. So I think that you guys are going to see the highest blitzing percentage that you've seen from the 49ers all season long. Week 1, the Patriots had a pressure, they allowed a pressure rate of 44%, week 2, 50%, and then last week they allowed a pressure rate of 62.8%. So it's just getting worse and worse as time goes on.
So I think if we blitz more on your guys, then we have a better chance. Okay. So the blitz percentage, we haven't been blitzing a lot. So I think this is the game we definitely have to get creative a little bit. So yeah, so respectfully, we'll definitely see how this plays out. So before we go, tell everybody where they can find your social media platform.
Yeah, man. So I'm on YouTube at Patriots Global. I keep it real on my channel, right? Like I don't like to be one of those fans who's biased and just tries to pull shit out of my ass and throw shit against the wall and see what sticks just because I'm a biased fan. I don't like to be that way. I like to keep it real. I'm actually in school right now to be a sportscaster. So we're taught to, bring up analytics, make sure that what you're talking about is legit and factual. So that's how I like to kind of do things on my channel. I'm also doing something new this season where I'm doing live watch parties. So if you're a 49ers fan, come ahead on my channel and check us out during live on this game and see all of my reactions when the Patriots get whooped in this game and throw interceptions and turn the ball over and Jacoby Brissett sacked on every other down. But again, you guys can find me over on YouTube at Patriots Global. I make content on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All that is going to be linked in the description box in my videos.
Yeah, I got you, Sub. And yeah, man, I'll probably definitely check you out, man. I got to see what's going on, man. I got to see what your reaction is and all the other stuff. Yeah, man, so far you've done pretty good content, man. I've always had to look at what kind of work everybody else does. And it seems like you keep it more real and you kind of like speak how you want to speak about the team. But you are passionate about your team. But, some people don't like that realistic talk, man. Like, what's wrong with being realistic these days, man?
Nobody wants to hear it, man. Nobody wants to hear it. I mean, there's Patriots fans there's not a lot of Patriots fans in the middle, and that's what I try to be. Like when I was growing up, my parents always taught me to understand both sides, and I think that's what really helps me when making content. But right now, Patriots fans are either, completely distraught and negative and we suck and we're done for the next 20 years and nothing's good. And then there's the people saying, we'll be back, we're winning the Super Bowl in the next 2 years. And it's like, let's stay in the middle and let's concentrate on building this team back up.
Yeah, let's focus on hopefully it gets better instead of like come on, let's not think too out of the box a little bit,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure, man. Maybe in the near future we could definitely do something in the off season, man. Hopefully, yeah. So yeah, bro, we had a good time, and for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in, and please go subscribe to Patriots Global. You got over 20,000 subscribers, bro. That's pretty damn good.
Yes, so I started this when I was a sophomore in high school, just because I just wanted to talk about football. I'm 22 now, so it's been a few years, and we're trying to do bigger and better things now. So I appreciate everybody's support. And most importantly, man, I appreciate you for having me on.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, bro. And if you need me to go on your show, man, just let me know.
Heck yeah, bro. I will for sure.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too, buddy.
You too.